I was using AI to translate. My Russian and Kazakh is not good, so that's why there was a little bit of delay in my response. Thank you very much, but I would like to start with a question. How many of you have ever been in a meeting where someone was officially responsible for taking minutes? How many of you have ever been in a meeting, any meeting, that someone was officially responsible for taking the minutes? Can I see any hands? No? Oh, sorry? No, not minutes. About what is being talked in the meeting. How many of you have been into a meeting where someone was officially writing down what is being discussed and what are the details of the meeting? Someone is officially required to take notes about the meeting. Have you ever been to a meeting? And my next question is, when you are thinking about it, how many times have you ever read the meetings that you previously held? The gap between those two questions is my topic today. I want to talk about the jobs that does not respond too productively to our work environment, but at the same time, we are worried about how losing those jobs are going to cost us employment, cost us jobs, and cost us some social transition problems. The standard narrative about the AI and jobs goes like this. AI will destroy employment, create mass unemployment, unless governments start acting quickly, and the consequences will be severe. Workers must retain, the transition must be managed, so we need to develop policies. The damage must be cushioned. That narrative starts from a wrong premise, from a wrong assumption, that jobs being displaced were producing something valuable. Like the minutes of the meeting that we never go back and read. We actually fill in pages and pages and pages of minutes and details of what is being discussed, but we rarely go back and then read them again. Now, most of the time, those meeting notes are taken by AIs. Now, that note-taking process will be replaced because we did not need that job. That job was actually to fulfill the procedure, the demand that was created artificially, the demand that was generated because we required that procedure for the reasons of auditing, for the reasons of something that needs to be responded if there is a judicial case is a matter. But that those compliance reports, those lots of paperwork we produce that does not actually change the outcome of any job is going to be replaced. And here, there are jobs that should be replaced by AI. At the 21st century, I don't think any individual, any human being should be tortured with and manually entering data. Now, how is that going to change the job space? We need to first identify that this transition is not a disruption, but rather, I call it a correction. It's going to correct what is being valued by other human beings, what is valued by other individuals as an outcome. Jobs that require lots of procedure will be displaced by AI because no one cares for them. We don't care too much about the procedure. We don't actually go visit how many different compliance reports have been filled out and then printed until a bridge is built. The only thing we are interested is if the bridge is working, if the bridge is usable, and if the bridge is helping us in any way. Unless the bridge collapses, nobody is interested in all those compliance reports. Now, I know my claim is a little bit sharp, a little bit counter narrative of jobs will, AI will replace our jobs. I'm going to give a couple of examples. A judge reading 400 pages of contracts and emails before making a decision. Now he is going to get a summary in 15, 20 minutes by the AI. The outcome we expect from a judge is justice. We expect the judge to decide in a just manner. An AI cannot do that. The judge will improve his productivity. The judge will not spend hours and hours on detail, small print contract details, but instead he will use the productivity generated by AI and LLM systems, pointing out the most important parts of a contract, where the violation might come, where the contradiction might come, where the conflict might come. Let me give you another example. A radiologist who actually checks with arrhythmia patterns over 6 months of different data will access those data now in minutes, not if seconds. He will increase and improve his productivity by saving time only if he has the ability, he has the skill set to understand what that AI report mean. Where is the important part? The judgment by the radiologist, the judgment by the doctor, the judgment by the surgeon is not depending on the procedure, but on the knowledge, on the know-how, on the skill set, on how good he is or she is in his profession, not on the procedures, not on how many pages, not on how many different MR scans we look at. This has happened before. This has happened before when we switched from horses to cars. This has happened when we actually moved from ink and feathers to pens and pencils, and from pens and pencils to typewriters, and from typewriters to printers. It all happened. Now, this is happening in a larger scale. And in every transition, headaches and people who are actually suffering from the transition and who are winning from the transition changes the distributional effects. Those are separate from what we are going to see. Now, this is where actually the policy becomes important, because we cannot change farmers overnight to software coders. That's what happened in the 20th century. More than half of world population, actually in some parts it was more than 90% of the population, worked in agriculture. Now it went below 3% in advanced countries, below 10% in many developing countries. What happened to the rest? They did not stay jobless. They are not crying because they lost jobs in the potato fields in Idaho or in wheat fields in different parts of the world. They switched. They switched to jobs that were never imagined before. There is a football industry. There is a modeling industry. There is a movie industry. There is a music industry. There are lots of industries that were not imagined before all this technological advancement made us rich in leisure. When we have leisure, what do? We socialize. We actually spend on entertainment. We spend on different types of tasks that were never imaginable before. But I agree, it is difficult to actually take a farmer and make him a software engineer. The transition is between generations, the same persons cannot be employed. But the sons and the grandsons of those farmers are now software engineers, which are going to be replaced. Yesterday, I actually read some news, which is going to change the way we look at this job displacement. Google, one of the pioneers of this AI development, has been laying off software engineers because they don't need them anymore. You know who they are hiring? They're hiring philosophers. The reason, philosophers know where reason is detailed, where contradictions happen, where people and AI can differ in thinking. The next stage in AI is to try to make AI as automated as possible, but it is, by the nature of the decision-making process, it is impossible to completely remove the judge from the final verdict. It is impossible to remove the human factor from making the final decision. The jobs that will never be replaced are the ones who can catch the errors, who can actually catch the costliest errors. Actually, in the airline industry, in the medical industry, these mistakes are very costly. No mistake in the homework submission in education can be as costly as that. Now, I would like to just say a few words about that education part before I conclude. In education, we will see lots of transition. As a professor, I'm facing a challenge. All students are facing a challenge. The challenge before me is if the students can get what they want better from a ChatGPT terminal, from Cloud-A, from Notebook LLM, they don't need me. I need to face that challenge. I need to make the difference where my contribution to students' mind and thinking is different from what ChatGPT screen can do. And in that sense, I see a couple of students in the audience. You can actually test, you can confirm this with them. I let my students free to use ChatGPT. I tell them, I don't care what you use. When you submit your assignment, you are free to use any tool you want. But I want serious content. I don't need fluff. I need your thinking, which cannot be done by ChatGPT. Sometimes in some assignments, I ask them, find the mistakes done by the AI. Find the mistakes that are compiled by this LLM model. That is the important skill set that will never disappear. Now, there is a dark side of what will happen, because there will be two equilibriums. As an economist, I should use the equilibrium at least once in my speech. So there's going to be two different societies. One who adopts fast and generates new kinds of jobs, which is not imaginable, which is not possible to predict. A fast transitioning society, their income will go up, their leisure time will go up, they will spend on new irreplaceable jobs, and the new jobs will actually flourish there. And there will be other type of societies who tries to control and resist this, and most of the jobs replaced will create a large group of unemployed people who are psychologically and physically will be aggressive. Now, these two societies will exist. That is the main challenge that we are going to face. Now, in one society, we will have some flourishing, flexible, and inviting society where the productive population will want to move in. And the other society, the first ones who are going to leave the other society, the failing society, are the ones who are most productive, most agile, most fastest, flexible, transitioning. The smart ones will leave first, which is going to make the remaining population even darker situation. That is the governance problem that we need to solve. That is the governance problem that we need to actually take account of before actually trying to restrict, trying to control, trying to design policies that actually prevents this transition. This transition is unavoidable. In the past, all policies that actually trying to restrict technological transition paid a higher price than the ones who switched faster transition and engaged that transition much faster. With this, I will conclude and thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'll be available.
Сұрақ бар екен. Бізде қазір онлайнда Біріккен Араб Әмірлігінен бір ғалым сұрақ қойғысы келеді. Осы Барыш мырзаға қосыла ала ма?
Hi to everyone. My name is Laziza. Hello, Professor Barish.
Hello.
Thank you very much for the talk. It was very informative. Just to remind you, I was your former public policy student. And currently I'm working in Abu Dhabi. So
Nice to meet you.
yes, you were my professor, by the way. My question is, how should universities redesign their education and research systems to prepare students for a future in which AI is not just a tool, but an active part of knowledge production? And if I may add a quick follow-up, this is something we have been actively discussing in industry as well. Do you think that AI will make students better researchers, or could it actually weaken critical thinking and originality? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last one is a concern that I've been following really closely, and there are a couple of studies that actually indicates that there is going to be mental laziness and mental challenging effect of AI, lots of AI usage, and it is empirically have been demonstrated. And I agree with the results, but that's the first effect results. Now, let's consider that together with the radiologist example. If a radiologist actually stops about reasoning and then just uses AI output, that's the first effect is going to be a decrease in productivity. But it's going to be replaced by who keeps their productivity, who uses AI productively. That's the secondary effect. So people who actually relies on I don't want to use the cheating part. I just on the laziness part in using AI and just copy paste and does nothing productively will be eliminated in the second stage. And the market will start paying higher jobs on the ones who can detect the mistakes of the AI, who can understand where is the algorithm failing. Market is going to pay those people higher. That is the winning society that I tried to hypothesize in my speech. So the laziness effect is going to be during the transition. It's going to have some transitional effects, but cannot be a long-term problem. For the universities, it's a challenge. University system has to change. If a lecture series can be replaced by AI, if students find AI much more productive in teaching, we should stop teaching those courses and then assign them to AI. Where the students need us, philosophy, understanding what the output means. As I sometimes give in my classes the example that in order to run a regression with a data set of 50, collecting data from individuals and then running a regression econometrically. This took 6 to 8 months before the invention of computing power. I'm talking about 1900s. I'm talking about 1890 and 1900s. The first statisticians who actually dealt with regression, econometric regressions. It took 8 months to run one regression. That means you need to be sure what kind of regression you are running, what kind of data you are collecting before engaging in this boring task of multiplying integers with each other and subtracting and then taking the squares, etc. Today, it takes less than a second. In 1 second, I can run hundreds and hundreds of regressions and get the results done. That's not the part that is interesting. Interesting part is what those numbers mean. What kind of regression are you going to run? Where the truth lies? How can you evaluate and interpret those results? Because as usual in every algorithm, garbage in, garbage out. Thank you for the question, by the way.
Thank you so much, Professor Barish. That was extremely helpful and thought-provoking. Thank you so much. It's great to hear your perspective again. Have a good day.
Thank you.
May I ask question? I am Anatoly Kremenchuk, director of the Indian Kazakhstan Center of Excellence. I absolutely agree with your optimistic perspective of the future of AI and AGI, I hope in 1927. But what do you say, what can you say a couple of words about the hallucination of AI? I ask you as author of the several publications about cascade of the evaluation biases in LLM-based systems. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sorry. Okay. This is a concern for both output reasons and for algorithmic reasons. The hallucination is something the algorithm cannot prevent, or one of the things that requires the human touch here is human eyes that would detect hallucinations. That is going to be with us, and that would require human touch forever with us if this is a real result, if there is a cancerogenic cell here, or is it hallucination? That decision is a normative judgment that will require human input. That will require specialists who specialize especially in learning what kind of systems generate what kind of outputs. Like I see that from different people right now. They know what kind of mistakes Gemini makes, what kind of mistakes Grok makes, what kind of mistakes Notebook LLM makes. So they are actually safeguarding themselves with their prompts, like the prompt engineering, that a job that did not take place like a couple of years, that did not exist a couple of years ago, is now becoming a job. Like how to prevent these hallucinations. Like the prompt engineering will become, and the more we learn about these, the more we can actually automate the LLM models to generate what is best for us. The ones who improve their productivity in this are going to survive. The ones who actually relies on the laziness part of it will actually face the consequences. But the second part of your question requires some empirical knowledge, which I don't have data, but it's an interesting, I would admit. It's an interesting question.
I will be glad to share with you our works about the dynamical calibration of the system, probability
Yes.
calibration without any human presence. And if you wish, I will help.
Yes, I will be very interested. I have a working paper based on what I'm talking here today. I will also be glad to share it with you, and then let's discuss after I'm done.
This is a very big job which was conducted on our supercomputer Parambilim here in the Eurasian National.
That's very interesting. I would really like to see. Thank you.
Thank you very much.